bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
Hey everybody, we're here at the Sunnybrook Ballroom inside the Speakeasy for another episode of Bring 'em Out. I'm Alan Hill, here with Soul Joel himself, Joel Richardson. Today, we have a very special guest, Lou. And I'm going to talk a little bit about who Lou is. We know each other from comedy shows. She's the only person I know that is definitely even a bigger comedy fan than me. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Some of the comics actually give her a warmer welcome than me.
Yeah.
We're talking Keith Robinson, Bobby Kelly riding on the back of this thing last
Oh, it's one of the best moments
summer.
In this place's history, short history with Soul Joel.
Bobby's like, oh, if it wasn't for that, I might have pooped myself. It's like there's a wedding going on inside.
Yeah, I saved him from shitting his pants.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
That video was
so awesome.
hilarious.
so funny. He had just gotten his surgery, and he's like,
Yeah, he
"Oh,
had the
God."
lap band
I'm sorry,
thing.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's a different surgery, but yeah, he definitely was going to have an issue for sure.
Oh, boy.
And we were riding, and I'm like, is that a wedding up there? There's a fucking wedding, and I'm like driving him to shit himself.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was wild.
And the only reason he could take that ride is because he had just lost about
that's
100
that's
pounds.
why. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And the look, if that video is out there somewhere,
I have it. Yeah, it's really funny. He had a ball.
the look on his face. I've been, we're both on Bobby's Patreon. Bobby's one of our top guys, and
Bobby.
I've watched Bobby, religiously for a long time now, and I've never seen him look that happy ever. As when you were cruising him through that parking lot.
Yeah, that was good.
Top
That was so
speed.
That was right after his surgery. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. Love it.
Speaking of surgery, is that Brian Dawkins, or did you lose 17 pounds?
That's awesome. Can you actually read the number?
Congrats on your weight loss, buddy.
Oh, dude. Congrats being another 30, but thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, brother.
It's these sofa chairs that really scrunch everything up.
That's what I'm blaming it on.
That's why I bring my own chair.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. And welcome to Why We Love Lou.
And we will not be editing this in post. Lou with the line.
So, I think a good place to start would be the story of how we met.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, and then I want to know when you, because I know when you guys met, but I want to hear that story too. But, so Lou and I met at a place in Lancaster called the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater, okay? Now, the Dutch Apple has been around for 30, 40 years, something like that, right?
Yeah. They put on plays and musicals and things like
Never
that.
once had a comedy show in their history that I
No,
know of.
never. Not
Right?
one time.
And they do like Grease on Saturday
Right,
nights and things like
right.
that, right? And all of a sudden they book a comedy show for the first time ever, and it's Ian Fidance opening up for Dave Attell.
David Tell.
Talk about it, if you're going to do it, might as well do
might
it
as well
right.
do it good.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
If you're going to
Sold.
open your doors, slam them open.
yeah, right.
might as
Here
well
we
be.
are.
Yeah.
So my band, Snap Squatch, had a charity show in a different part of Lancaster earlier that day. And we played for 4 hours, long day, and I had to pack up and get to that Dutch Apple Theater in a very short period of time. And I hadn't gone to the bathroom in a long time. We pull into the parking lot. It backs up to woods. Okay, there's like a wooded area.
I see a theme to this show already.
Yeah.
The bathroom.
It backs up.
You're right.
Hurry up.
Let's go over that line again. It backs up to the woods. It's a wooded area. Thank you for painting the picture.
I think you call that a redundancy.
Go ahead. Floor's yours.
Yeah. So I decide I'm going to not wait to get into the building and go to the bathroom. I'm going to go in the woods.
Yeah.
And as I'm going to the bathroom, my buddy yells. I thought he's yelling a warning, and I jerk around. And by the time I come back, I had just soaked my khaki
No
shorts.
way, dude. I didn't think that's what you were going to say, but that's totally what you said.
That's it, man. So, dude, it's like, I think that whatever time that show started, probably 7, say it was 7, it's 6:53. You know what I mean? And I'm holding 6 tickets, right? It's me and Gavin, but we're meeting 4 other people. And I've got the tickets. So I can't go home. It's like, what am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
So I end up taking Gavin's hoodie and wrapping. People do the wrap move, and
Yeah.
I did it backward. So I looked like a total fool, but nobody called me on it, which was great. And I got through the whole thing. Dave hit me with some of those great lines he always hits me with. And then after the show, I meet Lou, and we start talking
About
comedy.
comedy, yeah, right? That was the first time I saw Ian Fidance.
Yeah.
That was great. He has so much energy.
Ian is unbelievable,
And he was
right?
great afterwards. We got to talk to him
He was
afterwards.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
That was funny. Yeah, we really talked about comedy a lot that night.
Well, we realized within 5 seconds of talking to each other that we both like comedy equally. And that's a rare trait for both of us, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't find many people that like the same comedians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women, anyways. I don't know.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely. And even among the guys, there's very few people that love comedy like
Yeah,
me, you
that's
know what
true.
I mean?
Yeah, it's
You know?
intense. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
Yeah. So we ended up bullshitting outside of this show afterward for an hour or two. I mean, her, where she's trying. So the person she's with is trying to get out of there. The person I'm with is trying to get out of there, and they're like, yeah. Have you seen
You're like,
this?
my
Have you seen
pants are
this?"
still wet.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, man. And they were finally. It was finally like maybe half hour after the show. I was able to take off the hoodie. And the thing that sucks is I would have taken that bullet for comedy. You know what I mean? Like if Dave, because Dave grabbed me after the show because he hit me. Oh, I should tell you I don't think I've ever done this on the pod. I should tell you the 3 lines that Dave hit me with that I'll never forget. One was, I look like Mark Twain's merch guy. One was
Fair. It's fair.
It really is
good
fair.
one.
Yeah.
Maybe-
Especially with the glasses on top of your head.
That's so awesome, dude. All right, we are back. So, all right, Lou, so talk
Yeah.
about, this is something I would love to know, and we've never really talked about it, is how you got into comedy, like your first show, what drew you to stand up, that whole background there.
Well, I always watched comedy on TV. That was the only thing I watched in the Saturday morning cartoons up to the late night talk shows with the comedians that came on. But my first stand-up show that really got me started on all of this, it was my first year of college. And it was in I started in 88, it was in 89. And it was Sam Kinison.
Oh, holy shit.
Wow.
Sam Kinison was my first show, and he was doing a tour. I think it was called, I forget the name of it. But anyways, he had a couple, other comedians there, and I remember 2 bits out of it, and one was a bomb, and one was Sam Kinison just destroying. So the one guy, his name's I don't know if you remember Mitchell Walters. Yeah, everyone,
The only comedian to light me from the back of the room to start the show.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he sat in the back in Mount Holly and goes, and I go, yeah, he goes, do you want to start the show? I go, did you just light me to start the show?
Oh, that's hilarious.
He goes,
That is so
it's getting a bit late.
Dude, it's
She wasn't having
but sorry,
it.
the floor is
No,
yours.
that's
I love
okay.
how small
It's okay.
comedy, the comedy
Yeah,
world is.
right.
Yeah.
No, I love knowing that.
Wild.
I love knowing
Rest in
that.
peace, he's dead.
Rest
Oh,
in
right
peace.
on,
Rest
right
in
on.
peace.
Yeah.
He
Most of Jimmy's the only one that's alive.
From that crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's his name just died? Mitchell Walters, and then God, what's the other guy that used to open with them? That
I'm blanking
I can
on
picture his
it.
face.
know that, yeah.
I'm so bad at that.
they were swingers, and apparently Sam's kid, like this guy's
Yes,
kid,
yes. Oh, Carl LeBeau.
Carl LeBeau, just
Cool.
died earlier
That
this
was
year.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. He.
Whoa.
So
We digress.
That's what we do on this pod. Bud.
that's all right. I love it. So he was on stage, and he was doing this bit about women putting on makeup, and he was like miming a woman putting on mascara.
Okay.
And it was a gymnasium that had a stage, and it was a room full of drunk, like college guys, probably, frat guys or whatever. They booed him off stage. They booed him off stage. And I'm watching this, and this is my first live stand-up.
Oh, wow,
And I was so fascinated with it. Like, I just couldn't, I was like, what is happening? So that was that was crazy to begin with. And then, so Sam Kinison comes out, and he starts doing, Sam Kinison. And he does this one bit where he, talks about getting cheated on and, calling the girl as, slut whore. And, everyone's, loving it.
Right.
And he have you ever been cheated on? He asks the audience, and, he picks out one kid. He goes, have you ever had a girl, break your heart, cheat on you? And the kid's like, yeah. And everyone's hollering and stuff. And he goes, what was her name? And I don't know, he says something like, whatever, Catherine or something. And he just starts going off on Catherine, slut whore, and everyone's going crazy and going nuts. Oh, sorry. crazy and going nuts. Oh, sorry. Cunt. So,
You know what I mean?
you know what I'm talking about. You know. So he goes.
Howdy.
You've all known a couple of those people.
You prudes from intercourse.
Left with the blue ball.
I was just gonna say. So he talks to this kid. He's like, "What's her name?" And he gives her the name, and he's like going off on this girl, and he like gets everyone all riled up. You know what I mean? He's like saying all this stuff, and perfect timing. He waited till everyone kind of died down, and he goes, "What's her number?" And just as he says that, some guy walks on the side of the stage with a 1980s phone with a long cord.
Briefcase.
A phone, and he calls her on stage.
That's awesome.
So he has this, big phone,
The old landline.
the old landline.
And that call probably cost $1,000 in 1980.
I don't even know. I don't know but he had to hold it while he was holding the mic.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He couldn't, and you could barely hear her. So what happened was he called the number, and the mom picks up.
Oh boy.
So the mom picks up, and he's like asking for this girl on the phone, and I guess she wasn't there or whatever, and he goes off on the mother. You raised a fucking cunt horse that broke whatever Sam's heart or whatever his name was. Oh my god, it was so funny. People were losing their shit.
Not the phone call you're expecting when you're at home watching Jeopardy for the
And then Satan incarnate on a comedy show.
Yeah.
It calls you up from wearing his leather coat and his
My poor
beanie.
baby girl, what are you talking about? She's the sweetest girl. Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was perfect.
That's
It was
so awesome.
funny.
Oh, that's great.
So as soon as that, and then that kind of really just started cementing me loving stand up.
Oh, I
I
guess.
mean, it was,
That'll
how can
do
you
it.
get better than that?
Yeah.
Mine was 10 years later, exactly the same thing. We talked about this. But,
This is so good. Who doesn't
my
know this story, I don't think?
my first year in college, I ended up in Nashville with my roommate visiting his dad, and we saw Carlin
Oh wow.
at the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow. Okay.
And then I came back to New York. I was going to school in New York and went to the Comedy Cellar, not knowing what the Cellar was. Saw Attell, Greg Giraldo, Lisa Lampanelli, Wanda Sykes, and then Keith Robinson, your boy. Not mine. No, I'm joking. I love Keith.
Love him.
And
I love him.
goes, you guys have been a
We
great.
do too.
Oh, and Louis C.K. was on the show too. And then
Yes.
please welcome a very special guest. Just dropped in, Chris Rock.
Jesus Christ.
And I go,
Wonder why he's in comedy now.
this is what comedy's
it.
all
This is
about
it.
in the Big Apple.
This is fucking it.
And I literally didn't miss 1 month. I would always go, not every week, but I would go once a month to the Cellar.
If I lived close enough, I'd be there all the time.
Oh, it's the
I mean,
best.
they just had something the other night. Like I just saw pictures. It was Dave Chappelle, and just whatever. I can't think of the whole list, but it was just people like that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of shows where of all those people, I've seen pretty much all of it. It's amazing.
We'll talk about some of them that you were talking about on the way up. Some of the, which ones I mean? Do I need the list?
Yeah, I've gone to so many unbelievable shows. I was just at the Fully Loaded tour. Dan Soder got me backstage. I got to meet. Am I boring you? Is that what you did? You
No,
No,
sorry.
Joel, this is
Did you just yawn?
The coffee hasn't kicked in, sorry.
I've talked.
Oh my God.
Joel has a thing where sometimes
No,
he'll
no, it's
stare
okay.
through you when he's thinking of
You
thoughts.
take a nap. I'll talk to Alan.
Fuck yeah!
Fully Loaded tour.
I,
Mark Norman, Dan Soder.
He hears it all, whether he looks disinterested or
no,
not.
I'm serious. Yeah, Dan Soder got backstage, and I got to meet Bert Kreischer. It was when Attell was on the show, so it was.
Yeah, run
it
that
was
lineup.
Big
It's a sick
J, Big J, Dan Soder, Rich Voss, David Tell, Bert Kreischer, Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, Haddish. That's
Yeah,
right.
Tiffany Haddish and Tammy Pescatelli.
Tammy, who's
The female
we had-
assassin.
I
had
love
her a
her.
few months ago.
Verbal
Here. She's
assassin.
so good. Yeah, the verbal assassin. Yep.
She's so good. So I got backstage and I got to meet Cypher, and I was talking to Cypher. They're awesome.
So he did the intro to Soul Joel's.
And I met the girl who's like the DJ in between the. I don't know her name, but.
Oh, I looked her up too.
I'll
She's
bet you
amazing.
did. I bet you did.
Who was that?
No,
I'm sure you did.
Fuck yeah, Lou.
I was standing there with my daughter. I brought my daughter.
what am I
and
supposed to
she has-
yawn again? I'm trying to get interested in what you're saying.
No, I'm saying, no, listen, she's a porn star, right?
What?
That's why she's in porn, right?
Oh, that
That's
part I
why-
didn't know.
That's why I was
Oh,
saying
no,
that.
no,
That's what she was. Yeah, that's
No.
what she was.
Oh,
She was standing right next to us. And
no, I didn't know what you meant. I just saw. I follow Cypher, and he tagged everyone, and I go Cypher because he always talks about having a warm up.
So I was standing there backstage, or in the green room with them, and
Yikes.
What's her name? Yeah, what's her name?
No, who cares? No, I didn't get a chance to look it up because we're bad.
You didn't get a chance to look up her name because you were too busy looking at her pictures.
No, that was
Alright.
Cypher's Instagram. Because I was trying to.
Well, she was standing there, and guess who was talking to her?
The
most?
Fully Naked tour.
The Fully Naked tour. She was standing there talking to Rich Voss, and I have my daughter there. My daughter's 16. She's standing there, and her shirt is completely see-through. It was just funny. I was like, oh, whatever. She was cool. She was
What a
really cool.
riot. What a
Yeah.
riot.
But I got to meet them, and then so
What a
me-
DJ behind the scenes.
She was mixing some stuff up.
Yeah.
So they were really great. I got to talk to everyone there, and then I didn't see any of the ladies, right?
Yeah.
So I'm leaving, and as I'm leaving, Tammy Pescatelli and Tiffany Haddish are standing there right outside the door. I'm like, oh my god, it's awesome. You get to meet them and everything. And Tiffany Haddish,
Tammy, Tiff, Lou.
I love it.
it's a trio. We're going on tour. She was wasted, but in a good way. Like, she was so much fun. She was talking, and like her, I don't know if you call him handler or whatever, but at one point was like,
I think they call it the tour manager.
her tour manager, he had to rope her in and say, okay, well, we gotta go to wherever they had to go, and trying to get her to go back. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get it, I understand, And so then she starts to go with him and turns back to me and talks to me for like 5-7 minutes or whatever. She was great. I loved her, and I got to see Tammy. I haven't met her before. I like her a lot.
Yeah, she comes. She's come here a bunch of times. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
hilarious
I love her.
and cool.
The nicest,
Yeah.
and yeah, she's great.
She's really great.
And she just
I like
kills
her.
on stage.
She does every time.
The best.
That's so cool. I'm checking something here. I might have something fun.
Although you wanted me to talk about the Voss roast.
Oh, let's jump right to the Voss. She
I
was
was-
at you.
I was
The Voss
at
roast.
the Voss
Have you
roast.
seen the Voss roast?
20 times.
Yeah, right. It's maybe the best roast I've ever seen in my life.
By the way, just so everybody knows, he's talking to Jesse.
Jesse, our producer, Jesse Marchese. Check out the
Jesse.
Crumb Show Pod. My man.
Just random voice, and especially for people who aren't watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Thanks to all our followers and subscribers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're gonna think it's like a person that I have to have with me all the time or something.
Yeah, it's loose handler.
Yeah. I couldn't say it fast enough. Who cares? Back to you, Alex.
That's awesome.
Son of a.
I can't believe the title of the show. The only podcast I've been on like this is gonna be called "Who Cares."
Oh.
It's perfect though.
That's great. That is if we did episodic
But-
titles, that's it.
Who cares?
So the Voss roast was at
The Village Underground.
Village Underground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got invited by Rich, which was like ridiculous.
That's so cool.
And it was probably I think it has to be like number one. It was an unbelievably
The
fun
number
thing.
one roast you've gone to, or number one show.
I
Oh.
was physically, I literally I laughed the entire time.
And
There was-
let me just put that in perspective real quick before you tell the whole story. Think about how many shows she's seen. Okay, because I've seen a lot, and she's seen
and
way
I've
more
seen
than
all
me.
the people that were on there.
And this,
Well,
she's saying this
separately.
is maybe the best show she's
Oh
ever
my
seen.
God.
Since 1989.
Right.
So it's literally almost
And she's
25
seen Sam
years.
Kinison and everybody else.
Yeah.
I've seen Louis many times, especially here. I've seen him
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
he was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just some perspective. And this roast, by the way, last thing I'll say is this roast is on YouTube for free at this
Roast
point.
Bot-
You can check
Rich
it out.
Roast- I can't even talk.
VossRoast.com?
Yes,
Is that
VossRoast.com.
it?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, all
You
good.
kill me. You got to say that 10 times.
VossRoast.com.
VossRoast.com. Yeah, and there's stuff that happened like there that isn't on that. We talked about that. Where, but it doesn't matter. The whole thing, it was just, it hurt. I was hurting. Like my stomach, I mean, it was so funny. It was the best.
It's so
Joe
cool.
DeRosa killed. Jim Florentine destroyed.
Florentine.
Oh
that
my
Florentine
God.
set is legendary to me.
It was beyond. I mean, everyone did. Everyone that was there was. Just,
Everybody
it was
killed.
crazy.
And Florentine was like, whoa. You know, and like he was like, what the hell?
Yeah, everyone was talking about that. Yeah, he it was crazy. It
His was
a really
kind of
good
like
night.
Ben Bailey at the Patrice roast.
Oh God, yeah, Ben Bailey killed it.
Only nobody bombed at the Voss roast like what Keith did at the Patrice roast.
No one has ever bombed like that.
That was
History
the,
of
let's
bombing.
tell them what we're talking about. The
Yeah.
old there's a legendary Patrice O'Neill roast out there, and Ben Bailey from Cash Cab went up and slaughtered. I mean, it was one of
You have to see it.
one
It's
of the
really good.
greatest sets of any comedy I've ever seen by anybody. And then Keith Robinson strolls up on stage after him, completely unprepared, didn't write a single joke, went up planning on winging it.
He thought he could wing it, yeah.
Bombed so hard and refused to leave the stage. It's one of the greatest bombs I've ever heard in my life. It's as funny as Ben Bailey was in its own way.
And another thing.
So anyway, back to the roast.
Oh,
So
that's
now,
it.
well, let's run that
Yeah.
lineup a little bit. So you
Oh, yeah.
said Florentine,
Bobby Kelly,
Kelly.
Luis Gomez, because I think
Louis
Keith was
J,
supposed to do that roast, and I think it was after his first stroke.
Oh,
And
right on.
It was one of those where I think he was supposed to, and it just, he was there.
It's tough to
but-
schedule around Keith's strokes.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I just sorry.
By the way, side note.
Dude, he is slaying right now.
His hour right now
Joe
is
List
unbelievable.
was talking on Tuesdays with Stories
It's
this week
ridiculous.
about how it is the best hour of comedy, one of the best hours of comedy he's ever seen. Said it's better than anything Richard Pryor ever did.
I just saw
And
him.
Joe List doesn't talk about other comedian sets a whole lot.
Everyone's
you know what I
been
mean?
talking about it. I saw him at
Time to
the.
book him if you can. You know what I mean? Like it's apparently now's the time.
I saw him at the Patrice benefit this last Patrice
Oh, really?
benefit.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was unreal.
No
He is
shit.
just, oh my God, he's perfection, and he keeps talking about. Everyone keeps telling him to record it, and he even said, I heard him say it the other day when he was on YKWd. He was saying that it's just that there's something that
quite there.
doesn't feel it. I'm like, you better fucking do it.
Not quite there.
You know what I mean? Add it in later or something like that.
Dude, what does he want? I mean, like
I
comedians
don't
are
know.
raving about
It's
it like it's one of the
funny.
best hours they've ever seen by
It's great.
anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Wow.
really good.
Yeah.
So he was in the audience, but so I think.
That's right, because they were referencing him from time to time in this. in their
Right,
sets,
right. They
yeah.
talked to him there, and Judy Gold.
Oh,
and
Judy! Yes.
Colin.
Judy was the bomb of the night, and she was funny in her bomb. I enjoyed her bomb.
You're right on most of that. And it was, I think
You were
that's
there.
I got to relax.
I saw the edited version, I
I
guess.
I got to relax a little bit. Colin was there. Jim Norton was there.
Oh, Jim was there,
And
that's
obviously
right.
Bonnie went up, and
Bonnie hosted
Big
it.
J. Big J was there.
Big J was there. Yeah, it's a killer lineup.
It was-
man. Killer.
Every one of them
Yeah.
destroyed. It was so fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk other specials, because she's the only person I know that's been to any special recording, let alone multiple recordings.
Right.
I went to Colin invited me to the New York Story when he taped that his special, and I got to meet a bunch of comedians there, and I also got to meet what's her name? Mateo or what?
Mateo Lane.
No,
That's
no.
a guy.
No, I have another story about him, but I won't tell it.
Drea Di Matteo.
Yes, Drea Di
From The
Matteo
Sopranos.
from The Sopranos.
Oh.
And from I knew her more because I never seen The Sopranos. Sorry.
Oh,
I
must be
probably
friends
the
with
only
Joe
person
List.
in the world.
Joe List hates The Sopranos, famously.
Yeah, my friends tell me I should watch it all the time. He from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, she was on Sons of Anarchy. Yes.
So I saw
Right
her
on.
there. I got to meet her there, and that was incredible to watch. It was funny because he had to. There was one time he did something, he had to start over, and he was hysterical. Just the whole thing was really cool to watch too.
It's got to be fat because I've never been at a special taping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I got to see the second show. He had already taped it once, so this is the second time he was doing it.
All right. So we have Rich Voss coming tonight. And, we all love Rich, and he's one of the best ever, and love seeing him every time he comes here, and he works the hell out of this place. I love it,
Yeah.
Legendary crowd work whenever he comes here. It's so
Last time he
awesome.
did an hour and 19 minutes.
Dude. And he roasted the room. Oh, my goodness. I remember talking to him about how he refused to be booked at a place where there's not a bar on wheels in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Yeah.
Things like that. Dude, oh my
I
God.
said Rich is the most talked about comic amongst any comic.
Yes.
Everyone talks
Yeah, he
about
comes
Rich.
up with everybody.
He's
He
the
really
best.
does. He really does. And you have a story about your first
the
time
first
seeing
time I
Voss?
met him was at a comedy club, and I'm right there front row, and he does his crowd work, and he picks me out of the audience like 8 times, but his first thing that he said to me was, how many speeds do I have on this? Because he wants to move it back and forth for a blow job. He wants to say, and I'm like, well, we can talk later. And we did.
That's so awesome.
Insert laugh track here. I feel awkward. Good thing Alan's laughing for both of us.
I know Lou well enough to know that you darn
It
well never laugh
was
at those kind of
so
jokes.
funny. Yeah, I loved it. It made me laugh.
Dude, that's why her and Voss became quick friends. you
Yeah.
know
Oh,
what I
man,
mean?
that's
I
awesome.
love
He's a good
that.
guy.
That's so funny, man.
Yeah.
He introduced me to Shane Gillis too.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he was the first time he was opening or middle, I guess, for before Voss.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, it was the first time I met him.
Wow.
It was awesome.
How, do you know when you about when you would have seen Voss for the first time? Like what year ish?
Yeah. Oh, I can't. No, I don't remember.
Yeah, because it's a lot of years and a lot of shows. So let me ask you this real
Yeah,
quick to
I
veer off of
feel
the
bad.
Voss thing a little bit. So you did Kinnison in 88, 89, 88, 89. And then like how quickly after that did you become like super hardcore comedy Lou? Like were you going to shows all the time?
Well, I think it kind of started with I thought about this. I think it kind of started with Colin Quinn in a sense because on Twitter, Colin was huge.
Okay.
Do you remember? I don't
The
know if you
early
guys
days of
remember
Twitter?
That. Like he was the funniest. I mean,
He was huge on Twitter.
Yes, and I, mean,
I
he's-
was still using
he
a
still
flip
is.
phone.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just.
I didn't know that, and you're talking another language to Alan. Just so you know, we haven't brought this up, not to digress, but we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet. The other day, Alan dimed himself out. He just found out that there are comments on Instagram. That's it. That's the end of the story. That is it. There is nothing else. There's nothing. That's all Instagram is. There's no. You can't share stuff. You share it to your stories, but this Instagram is all liking and comments. That's it. So Alan didn't know there was 50% more to Instagram.
Oh, I thought it was just a bunch of people putting up pictures. I was
Yeah.
like, what's the big deal, man? Like
Yeah.
for years I've been like, what's the big deal with Instagram?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so now I know.
Back to you, Lou.
I'm just imagining you're just looking at chicks in bikinis or whatever. That's all you're.
I just
you keep
never-
your comments to yourself. It's probably smart.
Like,
You have a fair
comment.
point
No,
there, Lou.
like, log off.
It's I don't even-
Well,
so
yeah, Voss.
uh,
Oh, Twitter on Colin on Twitter.
Colin on Twitter,
yeah.
yep.
So he would retweet me a lot, and like I just got because I'm funny or whatever. He would do that, and then when I met him the first time I met him,
Can I interject real quick?
yes.
Did you
I'm
slide
sorry to
into
do
his
this again, but This is
DMs?
a big. This will set this
No,
up
I
well.
did.
And Lou would never say this about herself, so I'm going to say it. Was it YKWd or one of the extras or something a while back? Colin, it was just Colin and Bobby. It was YKWd. Thank you, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back and look for this one, it was Colin and Bobby from maybe sometime in the last 6 months. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly when.
Yeah.
And
I remember what you're talking about now.
they start talking about Lou on the podcast, and the neat thing that they said, and I'll never forget, and it's true, is she is the funniest non-comedian that they both know, which for us non-comedians that love comics, that is the highest compliment you can get.
Yeah. Good thing I'm a comic, so I'm not in that category. I might be on the low end of that. You don't think I'm funny? No, Joel, you're a comic. I don't think you answered the question. You're a producer now. Stop.
All right,
That's
so I had to say
that's
that.
so funny. That's a separation. That's a distinction.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when she says Colin's her text or tweets caught Colin's eye,
Yeah.
it really did, and it led to something that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Lou didn't wear a lipstick today for nothing. I know you wear. I know you wear lipstick every day. I know.
Every day.
I just notice it.
The color last time I think shocked you a little.
Yeah, it was popping.
I didn't want to excite you too much, so I didn't wear it again tonight.
Yeah, TGIF.
I love it.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm so embarrassed.
Are you?
Yes. No.
No, she's not. Yeah, see, I know Lou.
So I don't know. Okay. So anyways, when I met Colin, first time I met Colin, like I waited in line to like, shake his hand or whatever and meet him. And I was at the very end of the line, and like the person that was in front of me was moving, and he sees me and he goes, Lou, and I'm like, oh, I died right then and there. Like I didn't know he knew me like that. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So that started my, like, oh wow, these guys are actually like nice human beings. You know, like
Yeah.
they're really cool. And so and I just got sort of being able to see more and more shows, and I would wait afterwards and just say hi and tell them how much I like their comedy or what their sets or whatever, because I really do appreciate it. Like I think that there's I'll say something that I don't even think I talked to you about.
Okay.
I mentioned this to Ron Bennington.
Oh, good thing she looked over here. I thought it was just you and her on the podcast
So-
for a second.
Sorry.
Anyway, Alan,
So Alan,
thank God you're here.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate
hey, you were
The guy
yawning.
with the
You were yawning when I was talking last time, so I know who
well,
I'm
we
talking
took a
to.
pause and I got some coffee.
That's so awesome. I love it.
Finally, she looked left.
I love it.
She's like, Alan's the guy with the notepad and notes.
Dude, just keep giving him the shit.
I will. Hey, they give him so much shit here. I'm like, I feel at home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No one gets. I think Voss is the only one that gets more shit than you do.
Oh
You
my
get a lot.
gosh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
the funniest thing though.
Oh, yeah.
It's the funniest. Thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dude, Greg Fitzsimmons was here last night.
Okay.
Yeah, and he so he called me up and was like, "Hey man, I'm really looking forward to the show. I'm just so you know, I'm running 5 minutes late. Very professional." He goes, "But listen, all the comics really say good things about you, and I'm so excited to be there, except Rich Voss." He's a fucking hack. And I go, this is awkward, Greg. I go, he's here tomorrow. And he goes, yeah, I know. I played golf with him 2 weeks ago.
So awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
So he goes, but I made a mistake on the podcast. I said the date wrong. I plugged Voss on my date because I'm here July 20th. I said July 21st. He goes,
hit Voss's date on
yeah.
on
He
Fitzsimmons'
goes, so I
pod.
feel
Got
bad
you,
for any of
okay.
my fans if they show up tomorrow for his lowbrow crowd work. So I didn't know this part. I give him a check. I said, thank you so much. And in the memo notes, I said, thanks for the Voss plugs. He goes, hilarious. I didn't realize he had just signed the headshot so we could post it up on the wall and said, Soul Joels, you guys were great. Had such a fun time. Put this anywhere except next to Voss. On the headshot.
That is so funny.
I'm going to shut up. Lou, back to you.
That is awesome. What a great. That's
Great.
incredible, man.
But yeah,
Comics.
so Voss does get. It's her point. She's right.
Yeah.
No one gets more shit.
That's
than Voss.
incredible.
He-
What a great story.
he's
That's
the
a great
toughest,
story.
Too. He comes back. You're devastated when he comes back at you. It's
Oh,
a
my
good way,
gosh.
but like he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
destroyer.
Think
Oh,
he's
dude.
done. He's like, boom.
Like, I'm not
boom,
saying anything new
boom.
there. Everyone knows.
No, of course.
But so as far as like comedy, I said this to Ron Bennington because I thought it was so interesting that you can remake almost any art form that you think of.
Yeah.
Like you can remake movies, you can remake TV shows, actors, roles, songs, music, everything. And sometimes it's much better than it was in the beginning or the first time. Sometimes it's not. But you can't redo someone's stand-up
Yeah.
if it's good because it's personal.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't imagine somebody today just doing pretty much verbatim like Raw by Eddie Murphy. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. It's because it's so unique. And then not only that, you're getting up in front of people live. Like you don't have a prepare. I mean, you're prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, like a song you can just sing. Not that it's easy, but I mean, like it's just a different.
It's very different.
It's very different, and you can't duplicate it. And it takes balls to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I admire it so much.
Right there
And
with you, Lou.
then You're making people laugh. On top of that, it's incredible. That's why. So that's one of the biggest reasons I really felt.
Well, this is why we found each other in the parking lot because we have the exact same view on these things. I have the same exact thoughts on comedians. I love it. And being a musician, go ahead, Joel. Sorry.
Well, no. I was gonna say, it's so funny because when someone like a legend passes, like Don Rickles, I go back and I see like I was like, oh man, I go watch like when he was on Carson,
I love that stuff,
or
yeah.
or any of the roasts like the Dean Martin and all those roasts.
Rickles is one of my Mount Rushmore
But
guys.
could he get away? Like I probably would have adapted, obviously, but like he couldn't get away with what he was doing then.
Oh, right.
Now,
Right. Absolutely.
But then you watch. There was that one that never aired. The guy that died of pancreatic cancer.
Jesus.
Legend smoked.
Oh, God.
This is great.
Sorry.
But you
Back
wa-
in the I was back in the 70s or in the
probably 80s.
Okay. Sorry, that didn't help me. I'm sorry.
No, not George Burns. No. He died like younger.
Hicks, Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
Nice.
Oh,
All
You
right.
watch that set. You watch that set, and you're like, now it still made sense. Like he was joking about like the Easter and Easter Bunny and stuff like that, and you're like, that it was timeless.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Certain
it's
things are and certain things
so-
aren't. 'cause,
Exactly. But
Like
it's so
Carlin-
funny to say that. Like some
Yeah.
things are, some things aren't.
Yeah, and it's not just comedy is timeless or isn't.
Right.
Certain acts are and aren't.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like
Jokes.
Carlin was so of his time a lot of times. Some of his stuff is incredibly timeless, but a lot of it is very specific to that special and the time era that it was in.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Depending how dark.
Yeah, right.
No,
right.
There's a few comedians that can get away with stuff that most people can't get away with.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then you just have to, I don't know, you just have to have something. And you have, like, obviously Louis does some seriously shit that people couldn't do. So other people couldn't talk about it because he words it in a way where it's like, it doesn't, I mean, it's going to, everything offends somebody.
Right.
But it's not, that's not what it is. I mean, it's just, it's so, the wording and the way he,
You can't assault the
Right.
brilliance of the joke.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. Those are my exact words because I can't speak like that. I was just
I'm
like,
not
he's
even-
really good. He's
You guys
so
are doing
good.
great.
No.
You guys are really hitting it off.
No, I was joking because I was saying like it's good.
No, I
you
know.
know, I can't
You're doing all
do
the
words like
jokes,
that.
too.
We're also seeing why producer Joel still gets on stage.
Yeah. Big laugh, Alan.
Dude, that's
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I wanted to talk about before we move on is the you said how you can't recreate a comedian's act, right?
Right.
This is another thing that separates music and comedy so much is because there's huge market out there for cover bands and tribute bands.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends that are in them. One of my a good person I know is in a Stevie Nicks tribute band.
It becomes
Stevie Nicks.
nostalgic to the fans. They want to bring them back to that era.
Absolutely.
People love it. Or dressing up a certain way.
But
It
you've
makes
never
it fun.
nobody's
Wouldn't it
ever
be
emailed you saying they have a Richard Pryor tribute act, right? No.
But you know what? Wouldn't it be interesting to get?
Light me on fire.
Wouldn't it be interesting if someone did that? Like got a set where they did like a tribute and tried to act like I don't know. You'd have to do it in a certain way where you're not like being
Come to the open
cheesy
mic. You'll
about
see it.
Well, I mean, I see people imitating people all the time. That's different.
That was no offense. No, this one guy when I started the Stress Factory, I'm like, this guy's killing it. I had no idea he was doing Gilbert Gottfried's album.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, what a riot.
Yeah, talking about like the hot tub and oh my gosh.
Did he
it's
do
so-
the hunter that gets fucked by the bear?
Yeah, all that. And I wasn't like that familiar with all this comedy, so I was like, this guy's hilarious, not realizing he's doing someone else's
Yeah,
act.
he's doing one of the greatest ever's act. Yeah.
So
oh, that's funny.
it happens more than you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I was gonna say to Lou's point earlier too, with Louis and other comics, I think not only that's why like people have to put their phones in the. I think not just because they're working on material and they don't want it out there before it's ready for a special or TV, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But also because there's so many times where you can tape something and film it, but it's out of context because they might be calling back something an opener said or something that happened in the crowd, and you're not there, and you're watching it on TV, but you're
right.
like, I don't understand why that's funny.
Yeah.
So we keep talking about Jesse. Well,
Right.
Jesse's on the other side of this camera. No one
Right.
understands. He's a figment of everybody's imagination
Right.
except for us because he's right there.
He's like Wilson in Home
Yeah.
Improvement.
By the way, yeah. You can't hear him laughing. Well, maybe now, but he is most of the time he's smiling big.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
but that's why they because guys don't want to get canceled because you don't understand the context of the joke.
Right.
Well, and I don't want to take credit for this, but
That's
when
a great
he
point.
came to Royersford, he joked around about the insects and ended up being on his album going, that's all the noise they're making. They're saying, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me. And I'm like, dude, comics were joking.
I
I'm like,
remember
they
that.
literally could hear in the outside comedy, which was never done before the pandemic. And us, be like, it's kind of terrible, but we made it work. But you could hear crickets when you have a pause. You go get a drink of water and you're like, oh,
Oh, that's so good.
so good.
So good.
And I don't know if that's where he found it, but it made it onto the stage and then made it into a special. It was cool.
Those kind of things are just so cool to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I just
when you see the birth of a joke or the
Yes.
birth of an
Yes.
idea.
yeah.
Or the death of a joke.
Yeah,
right, we've seen
that's
many
even,
of that.
Equally entertaining. And we don't have to worry about that anymore. I woke up and I'm like, this is going to crush. And be like, man, I got into producing.
Cross that one off the list.
Cross it right off the list. We don't got to worry about that anymore. Lou, back to you.
Speaking of death of a joke, what?
Oh, I love it.
Happening now?
Oh, another thing I wanted to ask you, unless you have something you want to say first.
Go ahead.
You have kind of been around. We didn't even talk about this, so this is going to be a fresh one, okay? If it's a bad one, we'll move on. But,
You're saying how long I've been around, you're
with,
saying-
with fat, fresh questions, Joel.
Yeah. Well, your glasses are on your head. You forget that. Yeah. His short-term memory is no good. He's like, I go, Alan, we take a break. We come back, and you still can't remember the question. And you just looked at your notes.
How about this one? I did the whole paint and sip event with my glasses on my head.
Yeah.
I painted a picture without putting my glasses on. I forgot they were in my head.
That's so funny.
Anyway, here's the question. Shane Gillis, you are a big fan, I know. He's one of your, like, maybe big three probably, right? Or he's in your current Mount Rushmore, maybe.
I honestly, I could never put a list together.
I know I
just
believe me.
can't.
I wouldn't.
It's
I shouldn't have
crazy.
even done that. But
But
you've been
yes, I love
around
him.
for his rise a
Yeah.
lot, right? Like, when did you see him for the first time?
That's what-
blah blah blah. All
The
that.
first time I saw him was when he opened up for Rich.
Oh, that was the first time you saw
up in
Shane too?
In
Okay.
Harrisburg, yeah.
Dig it. Oh,
And so
Harrisburg
around,
Comedy
he
Zone.
was around that area, and I got to hang out with him a couple of times, and I saw him when he got the SNL.
Mm-hmm.
Like right after that, obviously, I think it was his first appearance. I can't remember if it was first or second, but so Dan Soder was down at Helium
Mm-hmm.
in Philly, and I texted him. I'm like, "Are you gonna be there?" Because I figured he had to do something. You know what I mean? I think, and he kind of texted back. I forget what he said. Something like maybe, you know, kind of just telling me, yeah, he was gonna be there. So I had to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go and see him, and it was bananas. I mean, you know, seeing him right after that was a crazy time for him. I can't imagine even to this day, you know, going through that. Nobody can. And so even I talked to him one time. We were talking about comics, and you know how Louis was like his, you know, top guy. I was like, me too. And he got to meet Louis, obviously, and they know, you know, Louis on his podcast and everything like that. So I'm so happy for him.
So cool.
That he's, you know, got that because of the fact that Louis went through that. So now he has the only other person pretty much that has gone through that to be able to be,
Right.
you know, to talk about
That's
it.
really, that's a
which
good
is
point. I didn't
really
think
cool.
about that, but that's a great point.
I like
yeah.
that a lot. And so yeah, I've seen him. Oh, that's so funny about that show at Helium too. I'll tell you real quick.
Okay.
So Dan Soder was on. He was headlining.
Thanks for continuing to look at
Yeah,
me.
I'm sorry. You know, this is really hard. You know, I'm going.
I
I'm
like
not-
when you don't forget that I'm in the room because Alan's doing great.
I usually don't have cameras when there's two guys in there. I can't keep going back further than that.
Another awkward moment. We'll just add a laugh track because I'm not laughing at that. No, I'm just joking.
It's okay.
So awesome.
I think Dan had taken a bunch of mushrooms, right?
Okay.
So we're outside.
Allegedly.
No. Well, I guess, yeah. So we were outside of Helium, and it was close enough, and there's a circle of us. Like I said, Shane was there, and Dan was there, and I forget who else, but we were a circle of us just talking outside the door, and Dan Soder was like standing right beside me, and Dan Soder is really tall.
Yeah.
You know? And where I was sitting was on a grate. And I didn't realize it wasn't a big deal to me. So Dan was beside me, and he starts leaning down. And, you know, obviously I'm joking, but I was like, oh, this is my big chance. Dan Soder's going to, you know what I mean, make a move or whatever.
He's
'Cause
leaning in.
slow. I know he's leaning in. So I'm like, yes, Dan Soder. He leans in, he goes, can you move off that grate? You're freaking me out. Like he thought.
Can you
because he
move
was
off
on
the crate?
The grate. I was on
Oh,
a grate.
Like a city
sorry, I
sewer,
keep
like
going.
a city sewer grate.
Yeah. So that was funny after that. It was so, I don't know. It was just really funny at that time. But
That's awesome, man.
yeah. So yeah.
What a
I'm
cool
really-
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
very cool.
and the background, by the way, real quick on the Gillis thing is if you guys don't know this, is Gillis got on a Saturday Night Live and then got kicked off the next day.
Oh, I just
so
assumed
that's the
everyone was
background.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
and
it was the next day, but it was within a week.
it
Yeah,
was
it
it
was
was
like
yeah, it was
2
within.
days,
You're
2 or
right.
3 days.
I overstated
no,
it. You're right.
yeah.
You're right.
I was
But
really
yeah.
lucky enough to meet his family. So he has a really cool family. I like his family and stuff. And
No
I get
kidding?
to see him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've met Phil.
You met Big Phil?
His sister's great.
He's got great Big Phil stories.
He's such a great, like a nice person. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, he really is. He's just funny he's the funniest, and it's like he's just really a cool guy. I like him a lot.
You can see how Shane turned out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Well,
That's cool.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I don't know. I really don't know how. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, did you tell the story about how we ate at her place?
Oh no! Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So we're in Millersville, and if you guys don't know, she has her own restaurant, her family, and everything. And
Jack's.
Jack's in Millersville.
Yeah, and I was in town to do a show, and Alan and his mom come there. Now his mom
Wanted to take Joel out for dinner.
take me out for dinner, but she pulls one of the oldest tricks in the book. Says she's going to the bathroom, cuts off the waiter, pays, comes back. I was upset because I wanted to pay. No.
I was upset because
if
I
anybody's
wanted to
seen
pay.
Joel at
Boom, that was the punchline. Thanks for ruining it. Sometimes you have to set things up.
I knew you were going. I thought you were setting me up. I didn't. I wasn't
Okay.
sure about that.
I was laughing, so nobody heard it. So go ahead.
Yeah. No. No, I never had so much turmoil over one check.
Dude.
I was upset. Your mom paid. She was upset.
And then,
She went to
Lou's
her
texting me, why
restaurant.
didn't you tell me Joel was
I know.
I think you gave her like 6 hours notice and she happened to not be in town.
right?
Back to you, Lou.
Next time, you have to go next time and tell
Yeah,
me. Next time.
Definitely.
We've had some people, like celebrities, eat at that restaurant. So the first time.
Voss
when I was
doesn't count.
Oh.
Because you're right next
All
to
right, then
You're right
really
next
nobody.
She's right next to Phantom Power, which
Well, that just started.
that just started. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm
so
sorry.
we're at a college, so like we're like almost, we're almost directly in. the
Yeah,
college.
Millersville
Right-
University is right
Millersville
here.
University. Yeah.
So when I was there, I went there in whatever, and
I wrestled there back in college.
Did you?
Ah.
I was joking. I was in there in 1988.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I was there later.
Vanilla Ice
Vanilla Ice?
came in the restaurant. So that's when he was.
No,
big.
when he
was big.
was.
Because he was performing at the college.
I think so.
Peak
Yeah, he was in
Ice?
the area or something like that. I can't remember, but because it was so long ago, I was like, "Holy shit!" He's right there at the end of the bar. That was really cool.
That's
Lady
awesome.
Gaga's eaten there or been there a couple times.
Oh,
drinking.
back when she was dating that dude
Yeah,
from Lancaster?
yeah.
Right on.
Do you
was
think
really
about a guy
cool.
like Vanilla Ice? You're like, could he put on a whole concert? He's got like 3 or 4 songs, but
But
I
at the
don't know.
time, though, like he was huge. So
Yeah.
I don't know what he had
Yeah.
going on.
Oh, he had ding, 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 did a ding, ding.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was
Yeah, like,
that was it. He just did that like 5 times.
Yeah, totally.
I'm trying to think of Todd Barry. Todd Barry.
Barry. Oh, tell your Todd Barry story.
That was
I
just
love
so
it.
and then I got one.
Let's go.
Todd,
I do too,
so
actually.
over the pandemic, we did everything. I was telling Joel earlier, we did everything to stay open. We like have a tent out there in the parking lot. We heated it. We air conditioned it. Plastic, everything. I mean, it was
Trying to survive like every other
Yeah,
business.
And we didn't close one day. It actually turned out really well. So Todd was doing a show around there, and I invited him to the restaurant. Him and I can't remember the girl's name. She was great, but anyway. So nobody was allowed in the restaurant. We had porta potties out there, right? So Todd gets up. He has to go to the bathroom.
Same.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. I know. That's why Bobby Kelly was on the restaurant.
Yeah.
So he just walks up and starts going to the restaurant. What am I going to stop? Say, excuse me, Todd Barry, you have to use the porta potty. I don't know. I couldn't do it. So he's the only person, other than the staff, that was in the restaurant during the COVID time.
Oh, isn't that a trip?
Yeah, I just say claim to fame.
Did he rip on anything while he walked
No,
through
no,
the
no. I didn't. You know what? Todd Barry, like I got to talk to him for a little while. I knew that I wasn't going to sit there and stay while he was eating. You know what I mean? He's kind of a quieter person. I wasn't going to bug him too long. So, Shane's been there a couple times, and
Wasn't Sam Morrill there? Or no, he just came to Phantom Power. I think he was at Phantom Power one
And-
time. That's right.
yeah, I'm hoping to get Mark Norman to get
Nice.
there this weekend. I think it's this weekend.
Comedy.
I forget. There's a couple people. but
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What you have a Todd Barry
Well,
story?
so we were lucky enough to get
love
him,
Todd Barry.
and it was one of his first shows before he's about to go on tour. He was coming down from another comic that I know very well, Liz Mealy. And
Oh,
That's
Liz
who
is
it was.
awesome.
Yes, that's who it was.
yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
they're coming around the corner. Now, I'd already previously got a phone call or an email that there was a couple that was going to get engaged, which I was like, it was like the second time that's ever happened at one of my shows.
Yeah.
So they come around the corner, and I see Todd coming around the corner. I didn't see either one of them. It's a pandemic, either one of them years. And the mom of the couple that's getting engaged gets to us before Todd.
Oh boy.
And they go, I can't wait for my my son and my daughter-in-law to get engaged. Todd goes, not on my stage.
Perfect.
And I go, oh God! I go,
Perfect.
man, this couldn't have been spaced out like 5 minutes.
for real.
And I could have just orchestrated it.
Yes.
But it ended up like. Todd ended the show. Everything was great. Standing ovation. I went on stage and I go, "You guys have been a great crowd." And by the way, and then I went into crowd work and talked to the guy.
Yeah.
And I handed it to him, and then he was like, "Hey, do you want to marry me?" And she paused because she's in front of a big crowd, and the mom was like, "Say yes, say yes." Mother-in-law. And they're like, yeah, and then I go, "Only at Soul Joel's," and we made like a clip out of it, and like I got roasted like for that, like crazy. Like, did you just do a plug while this couple got engaged?
So funny. I was there. I was at that show, and if you remember, there was I have a Todd Barry story too because there was some crowd work from Todd.
Oh, what did he call you?
Papa
Well,
Smurf.
there was he was trying to, because he did a whole crowd work special at
Yeah.
one point, and he loves to do crowd work. So, but he was having a tough time that night because the people he was working on were either too drunk or too nervous, and they were not answering fast enough or well enough for Todd. And Todd, Todd's got a short leash on what he's going to work with. And he finally said, "Screw it, I'm not doing any more crowd work." And then he gave it about 10 minutes of material, and then he finally said, "Well, let's try this guy." And he comes to me, he goes, "Sir, what do you do for a living?" I said, I teach guitar and play in bands." He says, "Holy shit, an intelligible response. Let's work this." So he says, "Tell me about your band. What's the name?" So I say, "Snap Squatch." You could have heard a pin drop. And he goes, "Of course it is." And he says, "Do you guys play original music?" "Yes." "You have 2 guitar players?" "Yes." "Lots of jamming? Lots of improv?" "Yeah." "I hate your fucking band already."
Oh, that's right.
And the best part was, the show ends, I walk off stage, and Joel books my band again for 2 weeks later.
Because I love you guys. Well, for Lou, Alan, this is Soul Joel, guys. Thanks for tuning in.